Alrighty, folks, about a week ago in the daily financial news, I put it out there. Hey, I want to hear from my audience. Who wants to talk? Who wants to ask questions? The one and only Gabriel stepped up and said, hey, I'll take on that challenge. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Every day Saturday, man. Every day Saturday. So Gabriel, do me a favor, tell the audience a little bit about you, and then let's get into the questions, see where we go.
Sure. Again, my name is Gabriel Marino. So I ran into you maybe about, not ran into you personally, but into your YouTubes, probably about what, maybe 7, 8 months ago. I've been watching you ever since. And then just listening. I commute basically about 3 hours a day, so I've watched tons of videos. So, um, and so just maybe about 2, 3 weeks ago, I bought your course. And so I've been finally diving in. I do construction. I work in the custom side of things.
Okay.
I'm a carpenter, or my
Okay.
I run a carpentry business, and I've been doing that for about 18 years. So I've done one flip in my entire career. It went excellent, but I'm still not savvy in flips, not savvy enough to be able to say, hey, I can do this again. Um, and so basically, reached out to you, or you asked, and I reached out and I said, hey, I'm basically, an expert. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but knowledgeable in one aspect of a pie. So
Okay.
I
Yep.
see real estate, I guess, as a pie, and so
Sure.
I know just one little slice, and that's it. And so
It's
I'm
okay.
trying to dive myself into all this whole huge real estate thing that I should know a little bit more about, but I don't. And just
Okay.
really wanted to. I'm 43, so I know, it's like my goal was always to retire at 40. Obviously, I didn't do that, and so now my goal is to retire by 55. And I think this is probably going to be the best way that I
Yeah.
can hopefully reach that.
Very,
Absolutely.
very cool. So, a couple of things that come off the top of my head is first off, I like the pie analogy. I can use that. I can play with that. There's lots of slices of the pie. And the beauty is by knowing a slice and being clearly an expert, 18 years of history, um, it'll be easier for you to get the others because you can partner with folks that have other slices. And I don't mean partner as far as money, at least not yet, but you can share and learn. So we'll get into that in a minute. But the first question I have for you, Gabriel, is where what excites you about real estate? Are you thinking about you want to get in, learn your buy box, and do another flip? Are you looking to take disposable savings and create cash flow? What is exciting you at the moment? Where do you want to go first?
As I mentioned, I do construction. So, um, and what excites me about it is the fact that I can. I see people like you. I study people like, from your three amigos group or whatnot, and
Yep.
millennial bike or whatnot. And so I guess the what excites me about real estate is the freedom of being able um, to just not be tied down to a job. I
Right.
love my career. I love my work. Um, but it just, I guess, in one, I mean, I've watched hundreds of
Yeah.
videos from with different people that you brought on, and
Sure.
one of them said, it's like, well, it's a job when you're tied down to it, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's more of that. It's more of the freedom to be able to choose what I want to do. If I want to continue, if I mean, not that I don't want to continue, I love what I do, but I can pick and choose my clients, I guess,
Yeah.
in that
I
aspect.
understand.
You know,
Yeah.
that's my initial goal. I know that
Okay.
there's several steps, but that's my initial goal. I guess my
So,
hopefully my end goal would probably be, if I'm being realistic, by
sure.
55, but I'm shooting for 50, to be like, say, okay, I don't need construction anymore. I'll
Right.
have it. I'll do it. I'll be the property manager or whatnot,
Hmm.
or at least the fixer for that portion, that piece of pie. But it's just
Yeah.
that's kind of sort of what excites me, is just to be able to do that and then partake in my kids' lives a little bit more,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, and then just milk my cows, man.
I like it. I like it. So again, I think you have a lot ahead, a lot of good things ahead of you because of your construction background and experience. I'm still sitting here guessing, right? We've only talked for
Sure.
2 minutes. Um, what I'm teasing out in my own head is I think what we could do is maybe create some chunk money, and I'll talk about what that is in a minute. And that ultimately leads to building a collection of cash flow rentals. So what I'm kind of teasing out in my head is, hey, let's get a couple of flips going or new builds or whatever happens to be the right thing for your market. And then, every third one we add a rental, right? Just a long-term 30-year fix kind of boring cash flow rental. But the key is, because again, if you're 43, you put 55 out there as the number, that's enough time for that boring cash flow rental to actually become something, right? Significant, right? When you first get in, it's a couple of $100, but in a decade, it'll be $1,000 or whatever it will be. So time is your friend. Um, so what I'm kind of envisioning is, gaining experience or networking with other investors in your market and almost JVing, maybe actually JVing, but or doing something like that where um, your skin in the game is the work, right? Maybe you're doing it at cost, for example. But on the flip side, you get a decent part of the exit, whether it's 50-50 split or whatever it happens to be. So somebody's the money, right? The down, and you're the effort. And then you share in the pie at the end, and you go do that 2 or 3 times. And then the third one, you take the pile of money and you go buy a rental, right? Only in your name or your company name or whatever it is. But that's kind of what I see as a pretty easy, maybe step one. I don't know how that hits you, if that's a crazy idea or not, but that's where my brain went first.
Well, cool. I mean, uh, I'm glad you said that. Yes, that's. I mean, I've had those thoughts as well. And then of course, right now, not knowing anybody, nobody knows me or nobody knows anything like that. And a lot of my business, like I said, in the carpentry, it's one thing that I can that I can say it's always been word of mouth. I don't advertise. I don't do anything like that. It's always just been generating word of mouth.
Sure.
I have, like I said before, with you and some text messages back and forth. I've built houses, so I do build houses, but my equity is so little, so small. I can do one at a time. So basically,
Right.
like one a year.
Hmm.
1,500 square foot. So it'd be ideal to do that. And so, but I'm dived in your course. I'm doing
Yep.
everything I'm doing everything that you're telling me to do that goes
Nice.
contrary. Like I want to just jump at it and just buy the first thing that I think is cool. I know. And then so
Nope.
it's
Nope. Nope. Yeah. Do the work.
so I got to do the work. I'm trying to hold back. I even picked a market that I'm not even interested in just so I can stay focused.
I like
You
it.
know,
Smart.
and it's like, because like, for example, my wife wanted me to pick a market that's close to home. I don't see it as a great market. It's a small market. It's a college town. And so I figured, okay, if I pick this town, I'll keep my wife happy. And at the same time, I'm not interested in this area. So it'll just keep me focused to do the work, you
Right. You'll
know,
learn the skill, right? Like,
to learn the skill.
cut it.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Exactly. I
Yeah.
like it. That's, and
And
you
then,
never know. You may surprise yourself, but I like the strategy.
which I have been pleasantly surprised, as a matter of fact. So,
That's
yes,
funny.
I mean, I'm still in phase three of your course.
Sure. Oh, I like it.
And yeah, so I've done phase two, I've done phase three, I've done phase one, obviously. And so a lot of things is I've started to learn that my market's in the 2 to 3% range
All
of
right.
yield.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did find one that was in the 6% range. So I kind of got excited. I jumped up. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I want to buy this house or not. Anyway, so it's
Yeah.
it's really cool, the little cool little roller coasters of
Yeah.
the things that
Exactly.
you're learning, that it's like, hey, this is actually,
It's
you
actually
know,
making sense.
it's making exactly, it's making sense. Now, granted, back to the pie analogy, I'm using the internet and things to be able to find some of these numbers, like rent, how
Sure.
much rent is in that area and stuff like that, the mortgage and all these bunch of other things. I have reached out to just a couple of
Yeah.
realtors. Um, so yes, it's very overwhelming. Actually, that's probably what was going to be really one of my first questions. Like, how do
Yeah.
you deal with the overwhelmingness of things? It took me 6 months of just listening to you to get the courage to, 6 months to 8 months to get the courage to buy your program and say, oh, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be that guy that says, oh, it's too hard or this, and I don't want to be that dude. So it's like,
Yes.
I'm going to commit.
Yeah.
Um,
So thank you for that. I think a lot of people go there, and it's not uncommon. the key to this is, and hopefully the course, like kind of the puzzle pieces start to snap together, is part of building your spreadsheet, which is in phase 2, right? When you're starting to do that, you're identifying what you don't know, i.e. rent, insurance, taxes.
Right.
But then you go forward and you start to realize you need to grow your network. So you start measuring these things together, like you talked about meeting a real estate agent. Maybe you should call a property manager who specializes in student housing. For example, right? You said you're in a college town. Research property manager, student housing. Because maybe your 2% yield is low because you're low on rents. What happens if your rents
Right.
are, $200 low? Well, your yield's going to explode.
Mhm.
So these are just areas you start to merge things together. So it may seem overwhelming when you write a list down, but if you sort of step back from the list and go, hey, if I take this one, I could connect it with this, and then I kill two birds with one stone. I take this and this, and I can put them together and move forward. That's what hopefully will start to happen for you when you just keep doing the work every day. Um, yeah, so that will hopefully the puzzle again. It takes, I've always said, 90 days, 120 days to really see the puzzle pieces snap together.
No, I agree. And like you mentioned before, yes, I would love to do, you know, a little bit cooler things like you said, you mentioned flip, or you said work with the partner or something like that, or find things that you could either build or and then or rent, or build a couple or flip a couple and then rent the third one and stuff like that. I'm all for it. I am down to do any of that stuff, but I really want to get the
Yeah,
concept that you tell me to do. and
exactly.
and and I figured, oh, I mean, I like numbers. I like math. I love it. I've done great. I figured, oh, it's like 6 months. I could beat that. I could beat 6 months worth of time. It's like, oh, come on, man. I'll be one
Come
of those A
on,
students.
he
It's
doesn't
like
know
I'll be,
me.
I'll be, you know. And then after getting into it, I've only been doing it for about 3 weeks, and it's like this a lot of information. you know I mean, just in phase 2 alone, it's like,
Yeah,
hey, I didn't know houses got out of the MLS and back in. I
yeah,
mean, I didn't know they reduced pricing, and then I found some that even increased a little bit. I was like,
it
is that
happened.
even legal? I mean,
Yeah,
all these things,
yeah,
and then at the
that's
same
awesome.
time, and I'm extremely conservative. That's why, and then and then also with my wife only wants to dealing with cash, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get into real estate. It's just because hopefully she'll allow me to um, do more loans versus with a bank and
Fixed
stuff like
rate,
that.
30-year, no
Yes,
variable.
no, absolutely, no. She's
Yeah.
more to the buy cash. Let's
Uh-huh.
get this, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and I'm trying to learn the aspects, the benefits of asset debt. I think
Yeah.
is what you call it.
Yeah, yeah. Good debt,
And try,
asset debt. Yep, yep.
good debt, and we're more old schools. Like all debt is bad debt, and so it's
Sure.
more of a cash aspect.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are the things that I'm grasping and trying to just suck it in. I mean, it's just like a like a huge firefighter water hose just turned on,
Yeah.
and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but
No,
it's
no, I
just like
got you.
everything
It's awesome.
trying to
Let,
filter
let,
all
let
that.
me
And
let me tie a story together
sure.
from somebody that's actually on my channel that I may want to connect you with. So every Monday I do a call that I call the hub call, right? It's a quick 15-minute conversation with people at my office in Fresno. And one of the guys on there most weeks is Carlos. Carlos is a construction guy. He does a lot of stuff on my properties. He's now an investor. And what he did, again, he was very word of mouth. He's such a nice dude, just a quality human being. But he had to get out of his comfort zone. He had to start
Mm.
going to real estate meetups. And if he was shy at first, right? But then he started networking and getting to know people. And now um, he's networking with other folks and he's doing deals together. And whether it's like we talked about earlier, labor exchange for money, because maybe somebody else comes in with the money, the cash, you do the work, you split the profits. You have probably the hardest, kind of experience in that whole spreadsheet, because what you're deeming is hard, not hard, but like overwhelming for a lot of people. Gabriel, it's the construction, or what I call make ready,
Right.
right? You probably go through the make ready numbers and you're like, oh, 7 seconds, I got it.
Yeah.
Most people are like, they're calling me going, Michael, how do you learn make ready? Well, I'm like, you got to go through a lot of units. You got to talk to a lot of contractors. So another thing I would tell you to do, and again, I think I might even bring your wife if she's open to it, is start going to real estate meetups in your area, maybe even student housing. Listen for a little bit, bring some cards, tell people what you're doing, talk about your history. And I think you'd be amazed that people will seek you out, because the greatest risk for new investors who have cash is a contractor that's going to rip them off. So if they can
Mm.
find somebody with 17 years of experience who is willing to put skin in the game, I think you have some advantages that you're underappreciating right now.
I, that's great. I love that. And that's, to be honest with you, that's exactly how I started. I mean, luckily I was living with my sister. I was divorced, living with my sister, and essentially I taught myself. I in essence worked for free, for years in order for me to learn the trade, in order for me to learn that skill. So I understand what it means to buckle down, work hard,
Yeah.
and then get it done. And I literally work for free at some in some instances, and figuratively work for free. Like, hey, here's my cost. Just pay me.
Right.
Just pay my. Just so because I understand that you can never put a value on knowledge and wisdom.
Exactly.
You can't.
Yep.
And I've always held that dear to me. And so for me, that was the thing. And so also back to my first question is like, how do you fight that fear? Because and then again, one thing that I told you before is like, I was in the military, and what a lot of people don't know about me, or find odd, which I am a very odd person, is that I did boot camp twice. You know,
Just
and
cause,
so it's like, huh?
just
Oh,
because you just want to do it twice.
uh, no, well, one was through when I was going to college, but because I didn't finish college, I still wanted to go to the Marine Corps. I loved it, and then so I decided to go through enlistment side. So
I
yeah, so
got it,
I
got it, got it, got it. Okay.
so that feeling, that emotion of like, crud, I'm doing this again. Are you serious? What was I smoking? That, and then that feeling of like what I had to put myself. Luckily, I had one child. He lived with his mom, but I was living with my sister, so she was a huge blessing to me. But to be able to do that for, to work for free, to learn my trade, and then that's kind of sort of my fear also here too. It's like, man, I'm starting something new. I'm just one little slice of the pie. I'm not. I don't know all these bunch of other people. The people that are way better than me, that know all this stuff way a lot more. And it's like, man, am I gonna have to, go through the same stuff? And I've
No,
already,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. So I think
you
I can
understand what I'm
relieve.
trying to ask,
So
I guess.
no, no. So you have probably the most valuable piece of the pie covered, and you should know
Okay.
that in any conversation. I will tell you, there's a lot more people with money than the skill and experience you have. So while you're going into a situation eventually where you're talking with a money partner, perhaps, no, you have the thing that's the most important. Don't diminish or reduce what you have and bring to the table. Always come at this from a position of strength. This world is full of millionaires who have cash that would love to partner with somebody like yourself. So don't diminish what you have, because what you have is irreplaceable in a deal. So know that.
Mhm.
But what I would tell you is, again, you're still in the process. You're 3 or 4 weeks in. You've probably got
Mhm.
at least 4 to 6 weeks left to go. You have to get to a certain level of self-confidence, and
Mm.
then it's going to unlock. Because right now you walk into a room, a real estate meetup, and you talk to somebody who's been doing it a while, they're going to kill you with vocabulary. They're going to you're going to think they know what they're doing, and they're just blowing smoke. Once you get to that and you kind of snap in and you have that knowledge, like, you know what a good deal is, you can self-evaluate it. You don't have to trust them. You're going to have the pick of the litter, but you still have work in front of you, right? You still have another four,
Yeah.
6, 8 weeks. But all I'm
I
trying to teach
appreciate
you,
that.
yeah,
I was thinking
all I'm
four to
trying to,
six months still.
no, I mean, I think because once it starts snapping, because right now, like when you buy the course, I don't know if this analogy works, but you brought up I'm going to just try it. When you buy the course and you dump out the box, all the puzzle pieces are upside down. I don't know about you, but I'm not good enough to do a puzzle piece upside down. So in the beginning, I'm turning over all the pieces. That's kind of the first couple of weeks. Like, what is he talking about? This spreadsheet thing, this thing. But now that now you're seeing all the pieces. You're laying them out. You're doing the corners and the edges. Now you're going to start snapping together. So the flywheel will accelerate. You'll start getting bigger pieces together. And then at some point, you're going to come to this and you're going to have another one of those moments like, oh, I found a 6. You're going to be like, I found a 7.5, and I'm confident it's a 7.5 because I've validated rents. I've double checked zoning. I've done this. I've done that. But, that's still road for you to cover. You still have effort to expend. But once you get there in June, whenever that is, you're going to be so dangerous in any other conversation because of your 18 years in construction. Again, don't diminish what you have there. It's a big piece of the puzzle that you've come in that's already done.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Does that make sense?
I just didn't know how. Yes, sir. Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't hold that piece of the pie. I mean, it just comes easy to me. I mean, that's what I do. I just,
but never. Yeah, it is again. If I don't know, I guess in puzzles it's a corner piece, right? It's like there's only 4 corner pieces, and understanding the make ready is a corner piece. You have it. It's you've got a big part of the board covered. So don't, like, if you're going to work with other folks, which may be the right answer, know that your thing is the most important. Anybody can have 200 grand. Not many people have the skill set to get within, 5% of a budget number repeatedly.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what are you seeing in this college town? What are you seeing? What are some other puzzle pieces?
Sure. I'm in Huntsville, not Alabama, because I watched the ladies event. Man, they're amazing.
Oh, Alicia. Oh, yeah. That was so awesome.
That
exceeded my high expectations. It was amazing.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I was just like, I was amazed. I was bowing down at those ladies. Those ladies are awesome. I mean, it's like, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
they were pretty good.
So I live in Huntsville, Texas, which is a college town for Sam Houston. Okay. And it's a small town. And then there's some guidance, some videos say, of some of the stuff that say, advising. Obviously, you're not telling them you have to stick to this, but like 100,000 and more, or why you chose Fresno, or you wanted $1 million and more. So I get all that,
Yeah.
And one of the people that I have forced myself to meet is a property manager.
Nice.
And so she seems to be super cool. She seems to be at her A game. And she was telling me, she was kind of like, this is, I want to stay, because of the fact that she kind of checked up all those boxes of what you've taught us through the videos. Is like, she knew her market. I asked her, hey, do you want to go down a little bit, maybe half hour away? She's like, no, I like this. This is where I want to stick to. And so nice. She surprised me, and I was very impressed by her. So if something comes up like a 7 or something like that, then I might just stick around. Because I work in Houston, sure. There's no high-end market up here, so I work in Houston, so I commute 3 hours, an hour and a half down, an hour and a half back, pretty much almost every day. So that's why. So that's kind of sort of, I wasn't really, it didn't turn. I wasn't interested in like dealing with college students or whatnot.
Sure.
So, but she's there, she's available. I'm a firm believer, not trying to waste any people's time. I try to respect their time. So I told her, hey, look, I'll call you as soon as I get all my ducks in a row. I'm trying to work with financing, because obviously owning my own business, I gotta figure out how to do my taxes to where I report that, hey, so
I actually made some income. I'm bankable. Yeah,
bankable. There you go, bankable. So I'm trying to figure that out. Things like that. But
that's very cool.
But it's open. I'm open to all aspects, even if
and again, it's just about, again, what I'm trying to teach in this is the skill. And then once you have the skill, you build confidence in yourself. And then once you have confidence and the skill, you can take it anywhere you want to go, whether you stay there or you go somewhere else. It is truly that powerful, because once you can learn it in Huntsville, Texas, you can learn it anywhere, and you'll learn it faster. It's pretty powerful.
Well, cool. And I don't know if I could ask a couple more questions.
Yeah,
Is that
please. I got 6 minutes.
okay? Awesome. So one of the things that I've been playing with in your spreadsheet is when we merged it together, right? In version 3, I've noticed some things. I started playing with the numbers, and like I said, I love numbers. And so I compared like a 30% down versus an all cash down.
Okay.
And it
Yep.
still kept me the same, it still kept the same yield, right? Obviously your cash flow increased, hence
Yep.
helping out the yield. So being from someone that's more conservative and old
Hmm.
school, and then
Yeah.
and having and it's a partnership between me and my wife. So it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
obviously for her and a little bit for me, the all cash seems to be more
It
nicer to
just
us.
fits you better. Yeah.
If it's just
So
better.
first,
But
yeah.
what do you think about that? I mean,
So
what's your
I've had this
comment?
I've had this conversation lots of times. And
Okay.
first and foremost, you have to appreciate where your wife, or in some cases the husband, are coming from. There's a story there, all of that. So what I've coached others to think about is just run the numbers 100% down or 50% down. Nobody generally thinks 50% down is high leverage. So I would run both scenarios, but hey, I strongly believe happy wife, happy life. I mean,
Yes.
I will bend over backwards for Olivia without question. So if the only answer that she told me back when we bought Norris Drive was we had to do cash, I would have done cash. But I would at least run the numbers at a 50% LTV. Don't do high leverage because that's a non-starter. But
Right.
50 or 100, and then just see what happens. And usually the numbers won't be the same. So I don't know if the spreadsheet's calculation is off,
Yeah.
like the formulas are messed up, but they'll be different. They should never be exactly the same, I would think.
Okay. And
I
yeah,
would
because
check
I
the
didn't know how to
formulas.
expand the formula. It might be 5.9 and
Oh, okay.
6.1 or something like that. I'm using the one from
Yeah.
the program right now, so I haven't messed with the
Okay.
formulas yet.
Yeah. Check the formulas. Maybe something got messed up, but
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
usually an all cash down will be lower than a levered deal. Usually.
I've noticed that in some when I play with other numbers, yes, but it just caught my eye when I played it with this specific house that I found that I was like, oh my gosh, I found a
Yeah.
6% house. Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah,
Yeah. I would play
okay.
with it. And then, yeah, go ahead. You got
And
a couple more
yeah,
questions.
one last question. I know
Okay.
your time's valuable. So, it knowing that I know construction a little bit,
Sure.
what do you think? I haven't heard you say anything about this or touched up on this. What if, like for example, I build the house in cash, and then
Yep.
I choose to keep it, or my wife and I choose to keep it to rent it,
Yep.
and then we go to the bank and say, hey, give us a loan against this, or do you go to the bank first and then build the house with the bank's money all the way through?
Now
What do
that
you
would
think?
be your experience. So first off, I mean, if you have the financial wherewithal to pay cash and then refi it out later, I think you only go to 50% LTV. That's kind of seems like what would be comfortable for you too. But generally
Yeah.
speaking, banks using the bank's money to build a home is kind of a standard thing, right? A construction loan, you get the land, you do a construction loan, all of that. So I don't know. I don't, that's beyond me. I've never done ground up, so I don't know. But I know people who do that. So everybody I know who does ground up gets bank money construction loans, and then they'll put it into what's called permanent financing at the end. So, that way you get your value spread. So again, I think where you guys will end up is somewhere between free and clear and 50% LTV. But I'm okay either way. Again, if you want to dip your toe in the water the first time and just build it with your dollars, and then at the end, hey, honey, look, we got a cash flow renter with no debt, or hey, honey, we can go get 50% of our money back. I think that's a worthwhile conversation between you and your wife. But I see no reason not to do one full cash if that's comfortable for both of you. Sometimes it's just what's comfortable for you, right?
Right. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the stuff that you're doing. Again, I'm just at the very beginning. Hopefully, I'll have much more intellectual questions later on through the program.
You'll be fine.
You know,
You'll be fine. Well,
but
you know how
thank
to
you
get a
so
hold of
much
me
for your
now,
time.
so you can reach out anytime you like.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All righty, Gabriel, have fun. Take care. Remember, happy wife, happy life. Bye.
Absolutely.